to us all. Good morning from here, Kampala, Uganda. Good morning, Africa. Good morning, the world at large. Welcome back to Behold Africa, your daily morning show. We bring to you the latest updates. We analyze some news, give you some trends and news around the world. I am your host, Jude Klein, and my co-host
Now, sure, Brenda, good morning, Africa. Good morning, everybody watching us live here in Kampala. As usual, we're here exactly 7 a.m. to bring you the latest updates that has been happening all over Africa and also all over the world. What are some of those trending stories that we have been missing? And not only that, we bring it also for movie lovers. There are those movies that we bring to you, the trailers and all that. Now, don't forget, Behold Africa is brought to you by the Fundamental Rights and Protection, who say rights matter and they're there to protect them for you. You can get us on Youth Media, on Facebook, YouTube, you're also there, on Twitter, we are there, on Instagram, we still use Youth Media. Please also share the link for others to follow the discussion of the day.
Now, it is a Wednesday morning, and well, it's a beautiful day out here in Kampala. I hope we are all well. You wake up on the right side of the bed, your day is usually good. That's what we usually say. If you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, not sure how you determine whether you woke up on the right side or the wrong side of the bed. But yes, for those of you who are still in bed, I hope you wake up on the right side of the bed so that your day is splendid. For those of you who are already up and about, I hope your day moves on smoothly. Now, here in Kampala, the weather is just okay. It was a bit cloudy in the morning, but right now it has somewhat stabilized. The traffic jam for those of you heading into Kampala and those of you heading out of Kampala, probably for work or business as usual, the traffic will be mild. We usually notice that as the week continues, there is usually a reduction in traffic jam, especially like on a Thursday. Then the traffic will resume on a Friday because people are heading out of the city, probably to go and enjoy or spend some time with their families. But yes, this is what's happening here in Kampala in terms of the weather and the traffic jam. Now, for those of you who are still at home, I remind you, just turn on your data, go to Youth Media on YouTube, go to Youth Media on Facebook. Tune in because a lot is about to go down. We have a lot of content for you. We have a lot to share with you. We have a lot to discuss with you. And I advise you to, get involved in get engaged in these conversations with us here on Behold Africa in the comment sections below. So don't hesitate, just write your comment. We shall most definitely read that out. And if it's a question, we shall most definitely reply to it.
Well, and we are going to reply to it. But also, as you're watching us, don't forget to subscribe, follow, because this also helps you. Whenever we go live, it gives you a notification. Now, today we go straight away in our news. And in our news, you're all aware of the new variant, the Omicron, that has been happening. We have just been hearing about it in South Africa and some other European countries. Now, also, yesterday, Uganda managed to confirm there are 9 cases of the Omicron variant. And this was through the Health Minister, Ruth Ochen, who said, yeah, they've confirmed the cases, but also she went ahead and emphasized and called upon the general public and all everybody around to please be very vigilant, follow the SOPs, because she said that she has seen that the various people who have left the SOPs, they're like, COVID is wiping out. We're not forgetting we have something new that we are facing. But also, you need to protect yourself against COVID-19. And now we need the new variant. Please, you need to also go for vaccination because we never know where it may lead us.
Exactly. And now Uganda has, of course, with this news, which is sad, Uganda has joined the list of the countries that have discovered the Omicron variant. This is in relationship to COVID. And of course, we have been keeping SOPs here in the country, but it is said that these 7 cases of Omicron were discovered from passengers that entered Uganda through the international airport of Entebbe, and 5 of them were from Nigeria, while 2 of them were discovered to be from South Africa. Now, of course, the government has still put up a lot of measures to actually combat these very instances. We told you earlier on at the beginning of the month where the government had ramped up security and testing kits at the airport. This is one way how the government, and working in cooperation with the airport, were able to actually discover these cases as they entered the country. Now, of course, they have been put into quarantine for a couple of number of days and to further investigate about the Omicron. These are the first cases of Uganda or imported into Uganda. Of course, as time goes on, we wouldn't wish to have more cases, but at the same time, it might not be avoidable. More and more cases might begin arising. Now that it has gotten into the public, it has gotten into the country, you just never know how it's going to spread. But the government has sensitized its citizens to keep alert, to keep calm. You know, we should. I remember the first time when we received the first case, almost the entire country went in a frenzy. They went into panic. You know, but right now, at least there's a bit of calm. Yeah, but at the same time, you know, they are still advising us. You know, wear your mask. And right here on the whole Africa, we always keep telling you, you know, wear your mask, follow the SOPs, wash your hands regularly, sanitize from time to time. And this is how we're going to be able to fight COVID, to fight the new variant, which is the Omicron variant. And this is how we're going to be able to stay safe and see a better life.
Well, as you're saying, safe, don't forget to also, because they are telling you various things that stay safe and all that, but please, go for vaccination. That is a calling that is up. And when you relate to what the World Health Organization said, at least each and every country should make vaccination as a priority. And also, yesterday still there is a statement that came in from the health minister who said that vaccination is not, it has moved away from a human right and whatever, but also now it's supposed to be, if you don't get vaccinated, that means you're defying against the company norms that because there is a calling that everybody has to be protected. And if in case you don't go for vaccination, then you can be charged for wanting to spread the virus to people. So,
exactly.
So it's up to you. Either do what the locals. You may be reluctant, but you never know.
Yeah, well, we have seen this trend. I'm calling it a trend because now Uganda is making that call. One of the calls that several other countries that have made. You know, where if you're unvaccinated, you are not allowed in public places. I saw yesterday Italy. Italy, we covered the story about Italy where they have put restrictions. They have taken their restrictions on unvaccinated individuals, which includes, of course, you're not going to use the public transport. So that means it's going to be very hard for you to leave your house. Yeah. At the same time, you're not going to go into cinemas. That's if you're not vaccinated. For anyone who is vaccinated, probably you can go into the cinema, you can go onto your public transport and so much more. Now, the same thing has been noticed here in Uganda. Of course, Brenda mentioned that the Minister of Health came out and said, you know what, if you're not vaccinated, you know, you're going to be charged. You know, here in Uganda, if the easiest way to actually get people to get compliant is by slamming some sort of fine onto them. And one way or another, they will become compliant. I've noticed this in several instances where, you know, I remember the curfew instances where they said, you know what, don't move past these hours. Of course, it was a new thing, but most people broke curfew rules and so much more until the government came out and said, you know what, if you're found moving past curfew, you're going to pay a certain amount.
And I like the statement what the president said. Why would you arrest such people and they just go into
our prison
and even eat our portion for nothing? They should pay, in fact.
Exactly.
That's what he said.
Yeah, Jonathan Cheng came on yesterday and made the same statement. And you know what? If you're not vaccinated, which has in some sort now it is becoming mandatory. If you're not vaccinated, you know what, you should be charged. Of course, it's not been passed, but that was a suggestion. She's like, you know what, if you're not vaccinated, you know, why should we be begging you to get vaccinated? You should just be fined for wanting to endanger other people's lives.
Well, we can say it again and again, but the action goes back to an individual. It's up to you. What is your take? However much they put the fines, but it should be your responsibility to do what's right and what the public calls. Now, going into straight away in Burundi, we are on a sad note where there was a fire outbreak in the prison, and the 38 people lost their lives, and over 69 were feared to be injured in the incident. So the cause of the fire is not yet established, but from what the inmates there say, that it came out from the electric problems and all that. So, and there are some inmates who are not ready. This happened early in the morning at 4 a.m. and it's on the sad note that people lost their lives, 38. There are those who are trying to, of course, rearranging for your life, but still also the prison guards are also like trying to protect them not to run away and all that. But in that situation, sometimes you just need to leave people to at least save their lives.
Yes. Now, as has been said, this happened very early in the morning, of which most of the inmates were in their beds still sleeping. It's not a time for waking up. But yes, this happened that most of them were still asleep, and you know, in that very moment, your subconscious, you do not know what's going on, and out of the biggest number of inmates in the prison, at least we have lost about 38 inmates from that prison. Now, this is Burundi's main prison, and there is a lot of criticism to how they handled this fire outbreak.
Yeah.
You know, the first responsive team, which is supposed to be the fire brigade, came 2 hours after the fire had had started blazing upon the place. Now, a lot of property was damaged. We have lost lives, but at the same time, there's a lot of criticism, as I've mentioned, around this very instance where, you know, fire is fire, and you know, fire spreads very fast. Now, it could have spread from the prison, prison cells onto the rest of the property, and causing more damage and deaths. Now, the fact that the fire responders came about 2 hours later just calls for a lot of alarm. Now, of course, we have noticed, especially here in Africa, East Africa, where if there is a fire outbreak, the response teams usually take a very long time to actually get to the scene, of which in most instances they get there after the fire has even come down and, you know, property has already gone.
But that will pose even a question. What brings all this? Because when you look at it, is it that they are inadequate of resources? Is the manpower not available? Because there are those situations when they even come on set. I'll just give an example here in Uganda. There are those instances when the fire brigade comes on set, but they even fail to penetrate through to where the fireplace is, because of the slums and where the car cannot even pass. But now, what even leads to the delay in the fire brigade reaching the site when the fire arrives? Because we're all aware that these are people who are needed there, and in case if anything they just have to be. But taking like 2 hours, that's a lot of time. And there is also that instance when they reach site, or when they reach the where the incident has happened, and they don't have water and they have to drive back.
Yeah. Now, as usual, we cover these reports for you, we cover these instances for you, and we also managed to cover this very instance. We have a documentary, not a documentary, we have a report, we have a short video that we're going to share with you shortly, but as Brenda has said, fire responders here in Uganda specifically, we always talk about, we always relate things to Uganda because we have more knowledge about the Ugandan situation, and most of the time it's relatable to most of the African countries, especially the East African countries, where a lot of things that happen in this very country, they are similar and carry almost the same weight with those that happen in other African countries. Now, yes, in most instances we usually see this happen, where, you know, fire responders get to a scene, and either there is no paved way onto getting at the very scene, or yes, there's that very instance where, you know, they got on site and, you know, there was no water in the tanks. Now, that's just absurd. Yeah, but again, the same thing of it could be even, you know, in the middle of the city. We're looking at like the Makerere instance, where they came very late when everything was even almost done. Yeah, but you can't say they were not able to access Makerere because of, you know, bad roads or not reaching there. So it's also just something like we need to work on responding to these instances.
This just goes back to the government themselves, who are in charge of this, because people entrust you, and even as we entrust you that you can handle this, and they're there to when we need you, are there. But now on the sad note is that when such instances happen, it's the people themselves that are there to work on the situation. They're there to serve you. You know, there are those who bring sand, there are those who bring water. They try to save the people inside. And sometimes it's annoying to the public when these people come in later, even with the police, and they even they chase away the people who have been saving, and they're like, what have you come to do after 2 hours or 3 hours?
Yeah.
So they should just go back to the officials, please. You should revise this, because people are not happy on this. But also now, because if it's even happening in Burundi, and it's an alarm that it has to go back to the people in charge of this.
Yes, but with that, let us play for you this short report that came out of Burundi as you watch with me. Here is a short clip for us.
At least 38 prisoners are feared dead and 69 seriously hurt after a fire broke out in the main prison of Burundi's capital, Gitega, on Tuesday. The country's vice president confirmed the incident. Many prisoners were still sleeping at the time of the incident at 4 o'clock a.m. The Interior Ministry said on Twitter that the disaster was caused by an electrical short circuit. A police source said the emergency services were laid to the scene, with the first fire truck arriving 2 hours after the start of the blaze.
Yes, that is what was happening in Burundi, and the damage that was caused to the property and the loss of lives for of those inmates. We pray that their souls may rest in peace.
Well, as we are praying for their souls to rest in peace, we go into our neighborhood here in Kenya. Now, in Kenya, there is an incident that happened where a policeman managed to shoot down 6 people, and one of the 6 people, one was the wife. And the cause of what led him to shoot, or to what made him to start shooting anyhow, it's not yet known. Though the law enforcers are still investigating what could be the cause of it, because after he tried to also escape after he had committed the incidents. He first shot the 5 people, then he ran away with the wife, but also where he went to the wife again, he shot the wife. So that was an alarming, and that's the sad note happening, or that's the news happening in Kenya.
Yeah, just to be clear, he actually committed suicide after this very instance. So he shot these 6 people, and after that committed suicide. So he turned around and shot himself also. This has caused, of course, yesterday as the instance unveiled, it caused a lot of protests around the area that it happened at, where actually one of the people who was gunned down was a border person who came and he was just passing by, but by the time he tried to this is in the reports that are coming out from Kenya. We have a clip that we're going to share with you about the report from the official report from the officials, and the people who were at the scene when this unveiled. Now, it is said that one of the boda guys who was now boda is simply the motorcycle riders. For those of you who may not know, we call those bodas. But yes, one of these boda guys was driving towards him, and then he noticed that he had a gun on him, and then he had an AK-47. So then he turned around and he's trying to ride away, and he was shooting back, and he lost his life right there on the road. But yes, this is very sad, but at the same time it calls for some sort of alarm. Like, okay, now, of course, the cause of this retaliation is not known, but it is also very, very alarming that this happens to be, a law enforcer. This happens to be a cop who is, I would like to call this some sort of terrorism. Yeah, he's terrorizing the residents, he's terrorizing the individuals who live in that very area. But yes, I hope we are seeing some of the footage that was coming out from Kenya, and yes, this caused a lot of uproar. It caused a lot of upset to the individuals who were on I shouldn't call them onlookers, because they're also trying to run for their lives. Yeah,
because they're also wondering how could it happen. But now a person killing like 5, where was the police? That's a question also.
That is a very good question. But as we have said, in Africa, we have noticed this trend where even if there is an instance where we're talking about the instance of fire, this also comes to in relationship to responding to criminal acts. We have noticed here in Uganda, or even Africa, where you get on the line and you call for assistance from the police, and it will take a very long time to actually get to
they're slow in action when you need them. And there is also that when you call them at that time, when they, how did it happen, by the time I'm reporting, the incident is happening, but the questions you're asking, you're prolonging the incident. It's already happening and maybe it's still even ongoing, but instead of coming on set and maybe question me from there or see what's happening, you are taking long asking the question, and even after taking that long, you don't even show up in time.
Yes.
So that's a calling that it comes back to the people who are. Let us play the video and you see it clearly, and you also tell us what you think about. But please, as you're watching Behold Africa, share some of your comments. What do you think about what we have aired out, and also the story that is going on?
Yes, what do you think about this very story? Because it's saddening, but it calls for a lot of alarm. Now, just a reminder, these videos are in Swahili, so for those of you who do not, they're in Swahili, but we shall try to translate some of the words that I said here. But yes,
masoja. Jamaa akakuja kwanza akasimama hapo kwa jana. Lazima tufunge. Moja juu kuna msao pikipiki alikuwa anashuka hivi, alikuwa anateremka hivi. Kauliza huyu hiyo si mlio ya risasi, akaniambia yeye. Kamuuliza kwa nini shida ni gani? Kaniambia pengine hao ndio wanatoka.
Na kama familia ya Nairobi na Kenya mzima.
Yes, these are some of the clips that we're sharing with you. Here is, the official report that came from the officials, the police, as they talked about what happened, how it unveiled, what they're doing about it. As I mentioned, it's in Swahili, but we shall try to translate some of the words from these clips. But yes, do have a listen and a watch on this.
Ni kama jambo hilo liliweza kumsubua, na hapo akatoka akachukua gari lake na ile bunduki ambayo alikuwa nayo. Yeyote yule aliyekuwa anampata kwa njia ilikuwa ni target yake. Aliyowapata wa kwanza, Mungu aliwasaidia, hawakushikwa na risasi, wakatoroka. Na ujumbe ulipotufikia sisi tuliweza kumobilize our officers ili waweze kwenda tukizuia maafa. Lakini vile tulikuwa tunazuia, tulikuwa tunaendelea kupata ripoti ya kwamba amepita hapa na kuna watu wameweza kuuawa. Mimi nataka kushukuru kwa sababu wengi wale walioweza kudhurika ni wale wanaofanya biashara ya bodaboda, na tuliungana na watu wana bodaboda tukasaidiana kutrack huyu mtu. Eventually wakati aliona ya kwamba amekuwa cornered, aliona hana la kufanya, akajipiga risasi. Kwa hivyo tunataka kuambia jamii zote ambazo zimeathirika pole sana kwa sababu ya yale ambayo yametokea, na ninaamini ya kwamba sisi tutasimama pamoja na wao. Upande wetu pia kwa maofficers, jambo hili ni jambo lililo nzito.
We go to Gambia, where we're still covering the story from Gambia, where they had their presidential election, and the incumbent president has emerged victorious, but this has also caused an uproar from the opposition and the supporters of the opposition, where they went onto the streets yesterday and started protesting in front of the White House, and this was in response to what the opposition president or candidate said. We went on TV and said, for him he disclaimed he said, we don't want violence, we should just stay calm, but at the same time I do not accept those results. There was some sort of rigging of votes, and probably we shall go to court and contest about this very case. Now, from this story, once again, I see a pattern, where the government, most likely when the incumbent president takes that vote, it usually causes an uproar,
Well,
from the opposition.
but not always, not in every country that.
In most instances, yeah, in Africa.
Okay, in most instances, but
Yeah.
maybe sometimes it comes from some point of a view where people are they're not confident with their electrical commission, and they have seen maybe the loopholes within the ages, and they have seen maybe some rigging happening, and they report this and they're not attended to. What do you think what they will do? They will always come on the streets and protest, but still sometimes. Because yesterday we gave you a report and we say, the news spreading all over was that the president that was already on, President Barrow, he was leading by over amongst the 53 districts, he was leading that 40. He was among the leader. Now that was already showing a win, and yesterday it was reported that he emerged the winner. But now when the protesters, when the people in the opposition know the supporter whom they support, they said no, this is not true, and they came in and they said actually they're telling Barrow to step down.
Yeah, I don't think that is going to happen. But let us play for you some short video that was covered during this protest, and let us first share with you the video.
The authorities in the Gambia have used tear gas to disperse demonstrators protesting the results of the presidential elections. The incidents occurred outside the residence of opposition leader Ousseynou Darboe. Before violence erupted, Darboe appealed to supporters to avoid violence and follow legal procedures to investigate potential irregularities. This protester denounced the police violence.
And throw tear gas, and you can see how many people fall down here. Even the tear gas even inside the party leaders' room. And look, it's completely not fair. We are only here to listen to our leaders.
The opposition supporters reject the victory of President Adama Barrow. According to official results, Barrow reached around 53% of the vote against 28% for the main opposition contender. The presidential election was held on Saturday, and nearly 860,000 people participated in the scrutiny.
Well, as you're seeing on the screens, the protests continued throughout the
The authorities in the Gambia have used tear gas to disperse demonstrators protesting the results of the presidential elections.
Well, the Mr. is known as Adam Barrow, and he came on the NPP flag party, which is known as the National People's Party, and he managed to score his votes, which are 457,519 votes, and he defeated his closest opponent, who is known as Dabo, who came in the party which is known as the UDP, and it's in the United Democratic Party. That was this, and this opponent of his scored 253 votes. That's the win he scored over the other one.
That's a very big margin.
It's a half. Actually, it's a half. It's similarly a half of what the other one scored.
Yeah.
But now, you may get the half, or I may double you. But where did the double votes come from?
Gambia's capital.
That's where
they are
you are seeing
supporters
the
of the
protests
country's
even
leading
happening
opposition
Transnight.
candidate.
But I mean, for this very instance, we have been talking about it. But I'm talking about yesterday we covered the report, and we'll bring you some of the things that this Barrow has done for the country. Previously there was a dictator who was offsetted from power, and now he has tried to stabilize the country. He has tried to stabilize the economy. He has done a lot for the people. He has done a lot for the country. So one way or another, there is a number of people who actually appreciate this.
Yeah.
Just like of course politics is politics, and there will always be an opposition. There will always be people who are saying, you know what, that was a rigged vote, that was a malicious this and that. But keep in mind, he has done what the previous president was not doing. First of all, the previous president was sort of a dictator. The the economy of Gambia is very terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he has managed to grow the GDP of Gambia. He has managed to stabilize the economy. He has managed to bring some sort of peace to the Gambian people. Now, there is a percentage of people who actually do appreciate all of this and see the need to actually bring him back on board, probably in hopes that he's going to actually do a lot more for the country. Instead of bringing on someone else, you know, it is usually said, you know, that statement of keep a devil that you know close than an angel that you do not know. So yeah, you know, most people are, in this instance, I think, say, you know what, this person, we have seen what he has done. We think he can do more for us. Let's put him back into power, instead of bringing on someone who is new. We don't know his potential. We don't know what his intentions are. You know, he might be like the previous one. So
well, what for us, we take what the Electoral Commission that side came in that and issued out in the general public for, but what they announced is President Barrow managed to score a win over his opponent, who is known as Daboa, and now this, if however much that people are not taking it lightly, but sometimes when you go into the match, always all the opponents expect to win.
Exactly.
But now what the output shows who won and who didn't win. And true. Even if maybe always the numbers show. Always the numbers show. But still, sometimes even if when you go in and you expect to be the winner, because even when you look at the margins at what the opponent of the who came on the UDP party, he also won on a high rate. They expected to come out the winners, but still didn't happen. But still, we all leave it to that, and let us see where it will end. Yeah. Hopefully they will come down and they take what came out. And if in case they are reporting that there's some rigging, then they should prove it to court, because I believe
he said the opposition leader said he's actually going to petition this and take it to court, and then they'll pick it up from there. And this is the exact same statement which is bringing about these protests, where he said, you know what, I don't take these results, but I urge you to stay calm. No, that's sort of some sort of controversy, but yes. This
who
is
said the opponent? Say they
the opponent, the candidate of the opposition.
No, you may say, the thing is, there is also uttering out on the microphone. Yeah, I don't take it lightly. Oh, no, I don't. I'm not in support. Of course, they will never say that I'm okay with what came out. They will say that I'm not in support, or I'm not happy with what came out because of this and this and this. But I don't emphasize for you to go and protest. Yet, when you go down on your agents, you're telling them something different. That's where the fueling of the protest sometimes arises. So it also goes back to what the leaders say and what they do towards their action. But we leave it to there. Let us see where it will end. Now, for us, we are here to bring you such stories, and in case anything comes on board, we shall always air it on air on Behold Africa. We go straight away in South Africa, where we all know the new Omicron emerged, the new Omicron variant that we earlier said. We also have a case in Uganda now. Not only the Omicron, but they are also still facing the COVID-19 cases, and it's on a sad note that they managed to get new COVID-19 and almost it quadrupled, like within 4 days. It just quadrupled, and it increased, like the margin was really exceeding that what they even expected. Well, I'm going to be reading you some of the few figures. They say the country managed to record 16,055 new infection in just like the last 24 hours. And this actually related, when you put in the percentage, this actually related to 24.3% when you relate it to the previous on Tuesday it was just 16.5%. Now when you look at the difference, this is a lot.
Yes, it's a very big margin.
It's a big margin.
It's a very big margin, and at the same time, of course, okay, South Africa is working very hard. Yeah, we should give it credit for some of these things. It's working very hard. But at the same time, you should know in most African countries, the alarm of getting vaccinated is still ongoing. Not everyone is vaccinated. Yeah, the percentage of the vaccinated individuals compared to those that are not vaccinated is very, very small. Yeah, the vaccinated people is like 15%. That is the whole 85% unvaccinated.
Well, when you look at it, they say it's 24% of people who are vaccinated in South Africa.
Now, still, that
is
is still very small. At least if you come to like the 50s, that's probably half the percentage of the vaccinated individuals. But still, South Africa, it's having a lot to deal with. We're looking at the travel bans. We're looking at the breakout of Omicron, which has caused a lot of uproar around Africa and around the world. South Africa is trying its best to fight, vaccination, ramp up vaccination. It's trying to sensitize the public. It's trying to, not cause any, because you have noticed whenever there is some sort of lockdown in most countries, there are protests and probably loss of lives, injuries. But South Africa is trying to, put that on the low and. Yeah, but yes, there is a lot that is happening in South Africa, and we still cover these stories for you and bring them to you live here on Behold Africa.
Yeah, you cannot get that anywhere. And when we look at the cases just rising and shooting high, this creates an alarm. And it goes back to you. We shall not get tired to remind you, please. Follow the SOPs. Don't leave them out. Just because you have seen numbers reducing in your area, you never may get what is in South Africa or what is happening in other areas. Because not only South Africa, we have also seen the other European countries' cases rising. And that's why they suggested to put a new lockdown in that areas. And when you even go into maybe the Brussels area, even protests are still ongoing because people are not okay with the lockdown that the government put on, because they say they should just go with the new normal, whatever. Even if the cases arise, they should just continue them.
That is true.
You as a person out there, before even you get, as when I will just even remind, to go into when they said that Uganda has imagined to get the 9 cases of the new Omicron. There are some people who say, I sense another new lockdown.
Yeah, that is true. But it is true because COVID is still ongoing. Omicron is just a variant of COVID, but the numbers are still going high. Let me give you some of the tracking so that you know how serious COVID is. For those of you who are still taking COVID lightly, we're going to be sharing the pictograph with you. But the numbers are very, very high. So the trackings of COVID-19 since as of 6th December. So this is just in 2 weeks, a week. It's not yet a
just
week.
4 days.
This is no, from 1st to today is 9.
Okay.
Today is 8th. So from 1st to 6th, that's 6 days. The new COVID cases around the world were reported to be 592,930. That is a very big number. Now the total deaths reported worldwide from the time COVID started is 5,270,625 deaths. Now in the US, where they have had the most cases, the new cases as of 6th December, we have 192,917. This is in the US. Now here is the thing, we are in billions of people. I think how many are we? Are we 15 billion? Yeah, no, not sure of the global population, the exact numbers, but we are about the vaccinated individuals in 184 countries is only 8,232,486,878. Still, compared to the global population, the general global population, this is very small. And yeah, we're going to be seeing these numbers going up in hopes that they go down. But as for now, it really comes down to us who have to, keep ourselves safe, because it starts with you. If you keep yourself safe, you're keeping your family safe. You keep your family safe, you're keeping the community safe. With the community safe, the country. With the country, the world at large. So yes, do keep yourself safe. It starts with you, and follow those SOPs. Wear your mask, because at one point it's going to start with you and it's going to spread. But yes, these are some of the stories we bring to you here on Behold Africa, the latest content. We analyze the news around Africa and the world, but we have a lot more in stock for you. We are going to go into a short break. When we get back, we are going to dive into the trending stories, the trending news. So don't go anywhere. Stay locked on Behold Africa. Stay locked on Youths Media. Let's get back.
the new era.
Youths Media, the new era. Youths Media, the new era.
Youths Media, the new era.
My name is Kenya Rocky, and my dream is to become a physical engineer. So I follow Youth Media in order to pursue my dream. I would encourage you to follow Youth Media on Facebook, Google, Twitter, in order to pursue also your dreams.
Obadde okimanyi nti abantu bawooma? Wow, kituufu abantu bawooma, naye abasajja bawooma. Wabula ate waliwo abasajja abasinga bannaabwe okuwooma. Wennanuulira n'ogamba nti tosubwa abasajja 15 abasinga okuwooma mu nsi yonna. Kiki ekibafuula abawoomu? Ani abalonze era bategedde batya nti bawooma? Ebyo byonna birindirire wano ku UTC Media, the first webcasting television in Africa. Kuva ng'ennaku z'omwezi 5 paka ennaku z'omwezi 10 December.
By names of Gita William, engeri gye tuli mu COVID, like tetusobola ku accessing amasomero, ade like bataddewo ekitongole website yaffe eya UTC Media, batukubiriza abazadde bafundika like abaana baabwe basobola tufollowinga ku platform zaffe nga like Twitter, Facebook, IG, developing minds zaabwe, various technical activities such as abaana basobola oyiga website designing, graphic designing n'ebirala nga tebagenze kusomero naye nga baliyigidde waka. So tukubiriza abazadde bagulire abaana baabwe data, bagezeeko okukola subscribinga n'okufollowinga UTC Media, bajja laba nga abaana bafunye ekintu
Welcome back from that short commercial break. I hope you had some water to drink, a bite to eat. We continue with the show with your trending stories here on Behold Africa. This section covers everything that is happening on social media, the stories that caught our attention, and we bring them right to you. Hope you enjoy the section because it's interesting. Now, some of you always go on social media and talk about this and that. I usually enjoy Twitter because it has a lot of content. It has a lot of roasting, I usually call it. And I always enjoy the comment section. I don't usually comment, but I always enjoy some of your comments. Now, from these stories is what we pick and we bring to share with the world, because most of them are not found anywhere and most people do not necessarily use Twitter or any social media platform. But yes, for those of you who do not use those platforms but are using YouTube, well, you get to know some of these stories too. We start from here in Uganda, where our trending story is about our very own, our pastor here, Bujingo, who managed to lock it down as of yesterday. By locking it down, I mean he managed to put a ring on the finger of his very, very beautiful wife now.
Engagement ring.
Not engagement ring. That was a wedding ring.
Are you sure it's a wedding ring?
Yeah, there's a
introduction.
Oh, right. That becomes an engagement ring. You always confuse me.
In Uganda they say kusibidao. That means you know we go into steps. You need to also, the first thing you do when you want to marry a wife, you have to go to you have to kuchala. You first make.
We can always skip that bit.
No, you can never skip, because you need to first find where your wife where you can get your wife, and you first meet their parents. That is the first thing. That is called the kuchala. Then you go into the introduction. The introduction, this is when you call upon the uncles or the relatives to know that this is the person going to take their daughter. You bring things, you pay the dowry on that introduction. That is like the traditional wedding, I would say. Then we also go the church way, which is you can choose the church way, you can choose maybe a contract marriage, whatever it's up to you what you choose. But now if you go into the church, then you need to go, you are blessed by any spiritual leader, be it maybe the sheikh, be it the reverend, the pastor, whoever it may be. And for Muslims, even yesterday I wondering what is nikah. Nikah now, for if you're a Muslim, what they call the kuchala, it's known as a nikah.
Right.
Thank you for
the education. I hope it sticks. I hope it sticks because every now and then.
Don't worry, because
every now and then I always lose track of that.
No, because I would want to attend that wedding of yours. I will make sure I don't lose track, and I'll keep on coaching you and reminding you these the norms, how they flow.
One way or another, I will get a grasp on what kuchala is, what introduction is. What is introduction in Luganda again?
Introduction, or kwanjula.
Okay, yeah, or kwanjula. So for this very individual, his kwanjula was of yesterday, which is the wedding, right?
Okay, the traditional wedding.
The traditional wedding. So yes, I am definitely right to actually call her his wife. So yes, he managed to lock it down with Makula.
Yeah, Makula, Susan Makula, now known as Susan Makula Bujingo. Before she actually used to call her name, and but now it's official. Makula Bujingo.
Yes, now we are going to be sharing for you with you some of the photographs, very beautiful photographs. This traditional wedding, as Brenda calls it.
But we advise those who are either social media in-laws, those on the other side. You know, they have now two teams. We have Team Bujingo, Team Teddy.
Those are three teams. There is Team Bujingo, Teddy, and Makula.
No. Now for this case, because it's the ladies involved, now we are having Team Susan Makula, then you also have Team Teddy. Teddy is you know what they're calling Pastor? They're calling him Haji.
Why is that?
Anyway, let us show you some of those video, the clips and all that. We are going to be telling you more why they're calling me Haji, because the issue is that previously all know that Bujingo, the pastor, was married to the wife, Teddy Mesula, and there are a lot of they have been going into court for divorce and it has not been approved. That is what the news is coming out, that they have been going to court, but now up to now they have not granted the divorce papers to them. And now, because he went ahead and processed his marriage, that's why people are saying, hey, the pastor is having another second wife because they didn't grant him the divorce. And to those, even if you are given a divorce, there are those who will they will take it that they don't accept the divorce, because they take it that in case you get married, it's for life and death. That's what they say. Till death do us apart.
So pastor becomes Hajj.
Yeah, pastor becomes Hajj. But we all know that Teddy Mesula said she won't give them the divorce. She's still known as Teddy Bujingo, the wife. So that means if you have Makula Susan Bujingo, then you also have Teddy Bujingo. Then why?
Most definitely.
That's the Hajj of that. But
okay, this is a very interesting story.
It's really interesting.
This is why I said it's a very interesting, and this is why it is in our training stories, because we know. Let me just give you a recap. I'm a Christian, so I'll tell you, in Christianity, you can, we promote monogamy, not polygamy. Yeah, and for this very instance, where the first wife has not consented to the divorce, it means legally they are not divorced.
But as we're talking, they should be displaying some of those clips because they're really nice. I like the ceremony, how it went. It's not like we are praising it, but look at how it all went and how actually I would say the bride didn't disappoint us. She looked really nice. The occasion went really.
These are the things that interest Brenda. I mean, she's a lady, and I get that, but I always see her excitement, especially when it comes to this specific couple. She lights up every time we covered about her kuchala. And now you can see the excitement.
No, because Amore is excited, especially if people come out and they take a step. They don't only cohabit or they stay together, but if they go ahead and they make it official and they go in the right ways, why not? Who am I to not to be happy? Especially if we see the ceremony, like how the fantasy said, like, when you look at the pics and every occasion going on, well, why not be happy for the other person?
Well, we are happy for them. I hope this one lasts, you know.
Well, as you are telling us that in the Christianity area, what...
Yeah, now that one skipped my head. But anyways, let's move on from that. Bujingo, I hope, Pastor Bujingo, I hope this one actually sticks. Because, you know, you try once, it fails, you try twice. It should stick, it must stick. But yeah.
That they showed the ceremony or live. It went live on their station, but my goodness, the tension that was there. I hear for all those who are visitors, they're not supposed to capture pics and post them before the official opening of the ceremony. Well, it was really on tension, but anyway, wish you a happy marriage, and hopefully those people talking the small voices are silenced and you stay together for long.
Yeah, but let us move on from that story and we bring you another one now. Today, this very story comes all the way from the US, where, as we know, you all know, we're in COVID. A lot of companies, a lot of workers are having challenges here and there. Now, this very instance happens to be, you know, with technology, and we're talking about Zoom. As of yesterday, a company called Better.com, the CEO came on board, scheduled a Zoom meeting with a couple of employees, and during the meeting, he fired all of them. That is to say, 900 employees of a company fired via Zoom. And this was effective immediately. So that meant the moment the Zoom call ended, you were sacked. No coming back to work on very short notice.
But now, do they pay you back your areas so that you have your money?
No, when you're fired, you're fired. You go with what you have, not what you're going to get. So
no, but you know, when it comes to the firing, the issue with firing, what I know about firing, there is firing me when I'm with the one in wrong, you get, but there is also firing me when you say, yeah, we no longer need your services, you're fired because of this and this, but we are giving you this in relation to top up.
No, in this very instance, there was nothing like we're firing you because you're in wrong or whatnot.
What reason did he give?
The statement, I'm going to play for you the video so that you come up to speed with this. Brenda is out of the loop, and I'm sure you're also out of the loop. So let us play for you the video, and you watch it for yourself. Then we shall discuss about it after. Here is the clip.
It's unfair.
Thank you for joining. I come to you with not great news. The market has changed, as you know, and we have to move with it in order to survive, so that hopefully we can continue to thrive and deliver on a mission. This isn't news that you're going to want to hear. But ultimately, it was my decision, and I wanted you to hear from me. It's been a really, really challenging decision to make. This is the second time in my career I'm doing this, and I do not want to do this. The last time I did it, I cried. This time I hope to be stronger. But we are laying off about 15% of the company.
You gotta be kidding me.
Efficiency and performances and productivity.
All we did for the company?
If you're on this call, you are part of the unlucky group being laid off. Your employment here is terminated, effective immediately. What does this mean for what's next? You're going to get an email from HR, askhr@better.com, and your benefits. For all U.S. employees, we're providing 4 weeks.
This is not real. Oh my God, I can't believe this.
1 month of full benefits and 2 months of COBRA, for which we will pay the premium. So 3 months total benefits if you elect for COBRA.
This is not real. Oh,
Thank you for each and every one of your individual contributions to Better. I wish the news was different. I wish we were thriving enthusiastically as we were at the beginning of this year. That's not the case. And I am sure you will leave us. And
This is not
be
real.
more successful, more fortunate,
After all we did.
luckier in your next endeavor. I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you for everything you've done for Better.
I've got 5 kids and a wife, and I was trying to think, how do I tell them that I don't have a job before Christmas?
I come to you with not great news. Your employment here is terminated, effective immediately.
In the morning, I was just on a meeting with my manager doing a one-to-one on how performance had been going. It had been going well. All of a sudden, we see this link come on that says we're going to have this mortgage meeting.
This is the second time in my career I'm doing this, and I do not want to do this. The last time I did it, I cried. We are laying off about 15% of the company.
My heart just sank. I haven't been a part of something like that before. It was very callous.
Yes, this is what happened via that Zoom meeting. I hope you're now up to speed on what happened, but just to break it down for you, you know, Brenda, I also did not know much about this, but let me break it down to all of us. So the CEO of the company called Better.com comes on board and invites, of course the company is a big company, it's a mortgage company, so they deal in real estate, so that means there's a lot of money involved. But he says it has been a hard year due to COVID, of course only from 2021, and you know what, I have come to a decision that I'm going to pass on to you. And he goes ahead and says, you know, I have done this twice, so this is his second time, you know, firing almost the entire company. But he goes like, I have done this twice, and the first time I did it, I cried, which is very cynical, but very interesting. Apparently, he cried the first time he fired his first team. And then he goes ahead and says, you know what, for whoever is here live on this Zoom meeting, so whoever was invited, that is to say all 900 participants on that Zoom meeting, are fired with immediate effect. As I explained earlier, with immediate effect meant the moment the Zoom meeting ended, so did your contract and so did your services at that very company. And of course, as you know, we're coming into the Christmas season, we're coming into the festive season. A lot of people are looking for, you know, forward to Christmas bonuses and the sorts. And this brought about the reactions where you saw one of the interviews with one of the employees. He goes like, you know, I was planning on, you know, festive season is coming up. I don't know what I'm going to do with my kids. He has 4 kids and he doesn't know what he's going to do for his kids. You know, you're fired in the middle of December. Where are you going to get another job?
No, Joe, this is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Firing is the thing of this man, because if you say it's not the first team, there is also another team he fired before this one. Because firing 900 people, those are a lot. We are looking at 900 families. They're going to be, yeah, they may have their saving, but still, on a short notice, firing a person on a short notice, and even still not giving them any lump sum of money, at least to support them in that period when they're going to be looking for another job. That is not good at all. It's okay because we all understand that we are living in the new normal. Yeah, it's called the new normal, but because not everybody expected the COVID-19 to arise. But still, let us not take it for granted and act out of selfish. Let us think about others also. As a boss of a company, however much you are saying, yeah, you're not making profits and whatever, but still, and you're going to lay off some workers. There are those who do it you don't do it completely at once, because that can kill somebody. I'll give you. There are those people who just die out of shock at once.
Yes, like for example, in this very video, it was actually recorded by one of the employees who was attending the Zoom meeting, and she was recording it, and the reaction at the very end was what was shocking. You know, when he said, whoever is here, I have sad news for you, you are all terminated. She goes like, what? Like, hey, what am I going to do after this? But yes, it's not ethical. That is the truth. It's not ethical. It breaks all the norms of ethics in the employee sector, in the employment sector, and some sort of action should be done about should be taken about this. That yes, this is what's happening, and in the US about this specific company that got rid of 900 employees over a Zoom meeting with immediate effect from right there. Now I'm going to ask you a simple question. Do you think what he did was right? You know, would it have been in order for him to actually call them for a real meeting, a physical meeting, then get them fired? or was them attending? The thing that puzzles me is them joining a Zoom meeting, and you think it's because it was a webinar, you think they are going to discuss about some financial, this and that, only to reach there and you're being told, hey, you cannot work here anymore.
As you're posing the question, me, I'll air out my views, and I won't even shut up on this, because however much it's okay, whatever media you're going to use to fire me, but let it not be on a short notice. You get, there is that. You first tell me through, like me, maybe today, there is that notice you give maybe a month before, but in case it's going to be that very short, always they say you don't give it there, and then if people are expecting, maybe they're going to be talking about the financing situation in the company, maybe they're going to talk about the way forward, then out of the blue you laid it out, and do you know what people that can call, that is like, it can be a knife to people's heart. There are those who just even the business is being affected, but there are those ways you are handling. You'd say there are the ethical ways you can handle this. Let you not come out of the blue, because you are the boss. You can do anything, but please think about the employees you have and be crucial as you are laying out and you're also firing this. Why would you think they will be? That is my answer to that.
Yes, well, Brenda, thank you for those views, and I hope I hear from you also, whoever is out there. And yes, this is an open discussion. Please leave a comment in the comment section below as we continue with the show. Now, in other stories, we are celebrating our own here back in Uganda. The TV presenter who managed to, yesterday he showcased his very, very beautiful real estate, his very, very beautiful home, and inspired most of us, especially Brenda. But yes, he managed to show off some of his properties, and the house is very, very beautiful.
Well, this is known as Edwin Musime, and he hosts a property show on one of the media stations, but he didn't disappoint us when he came out, and pictures were spreading all over social media of his house. And when you look at the house, it's a 3-level house, and it has in it, I'm going to read some of the things that are in this house, and you're like, really? This house is in Buziga, and it's sitting on 12 decimal, but when you look at it, this is really nice. And people say they're not disappointed. What could you expect out of somebody who is hosting a property show house and all that? Now, when you look at it, he said he wanted to lay it as an inspiration for people out there. But he said, the amount would have been mad because of the connection he has there, and he knows how to manage the funds. At least the cost didn't exaggerate the prices, because he said may have exceeded even the billions and billions of money. But because of the various connections he has, he managed to tap over some of his friends and the whole thing. Now, what is in the house of the 3 floors? We have the guest room, we have a gym, the children's room, we have his bedroom, the office space, also a prayer room, and more. What can we say? They're going to be displaying some of those pics. Those are just a few, but we shall bring you more pics about this. Well, for those who are wondering, why is the house in Buziga? The house is in Buziga because he grew up in Buziga, and that's why he got inspiration. The first money he got, he managed to purchase a land there, and before even he owned a house, he was renting there before. And he says before even he constructed the house, in the earlier days when he bought the plot of land, he didn't even have a route that could lead him to that plot, but he had to talk to the owners to at least pave a way for him. But it's so interesting and so inspirational when you look at how far he has come and where he is. Well, that gentleman there, Edwin Musime, he's not in the news because he's also a pastor, by the way. When he starts to preach, you cannot stop to listen. But still, recently the wife gave birth. So they are celebrating, as much they're celebrating the house, that is also still in the happy mode of welcoming the baby. So it's a win and win, and people are amazed by how the house is looking. And it's just he triggered it to the youth out there. But also he said, people who are constructing houses, please let you not supervise your houses or your construction. When the construction is going, let you not supervise over the phone. Go on site, mark every detail. That is the only way you can emphasize and see that whatever you want is put in place, and it also avoids these buildings falling, the ones you're hearing. So he calls upon every person who is constructing a house or you're intending to construct the advice he told you, please go on site. And it also cuts down on the cost, because they may request for $50. When you go on site, you see that they still they have some bags left, and they just need maybe half of the 50 bucks. So he just calls upon everybody, please just get involved in the whole process right from when the house is not yet constructed. Yes. Well, that the end of this show, but before we end it, we always bring you a trailer, and Jude has that to share with us.
Yes, this is the end of this segment, trending stories, and in this segment we shall bring you the trailer that we do not want you to miss out on as you enjoy the show, and at the same time you can enjoy it with your family, or if it's rated you can enjoy it alone or with your spouse or husband or whatsoever. Today's trailer is a romantic one. It's called Love Hard, and with that, let us dive into the trailer because I don't want to spoil it for you. There is me spoiling the trailer and then spoiling the movie. Let me not spoil any of them. I'll let us watch the trailer together. Here is the trailer for Love Hard. Love Hard. I hope you hunt for the movie. It's on Netflix. You can watch it, or you can stream it from anywhere else. If you're looking for it, hard copy, you can find it at your movie stores, and I hope you do enjoy it. It is a romantic movie, so you will most definitely enjoy it, especially for the ladies. But with that, it marks the end of this segment, which is the trending stories. We're going to a short break. When we get back, we dive into the top world stories. I hope you stay with us. Let's get back.
Obadde okimanyi nti abantu bawooma? Waaw, kituufu abantu bawooma, naye abasajja bawooma. Oba kimanyi nti abantu bawooma? Waaw, kituufu abantu bawooma, naye abasajja bawooma. Wabula ate waliwo abasajja abasinga bannaabwe okuwooma. Wenna n'owulira n'ogamba nti tosubwa abasajja 15 abasinga okuwooma mu nsi yonna. Kiki ekibafuula abawoomu? Ani abalonze era bategedde batya nti bawooma? Ebyo byonna birindirire wano ku UTC Media, the first web broadcasting television in Africa. Kuva ng'ennaku z'omwezi 5 paka ennaku z'omwezi 10 December.
Yeah, who was so now?
Nilisoma niathiri then kwize COVID-19 wasitopingamu kwonga baletaho omusomo gw'okwegira ahasimu kugwizire nafunaho ekitongole nakita UTC Media kiine ebikwegise kale ekyo ekitongole kyegese emyeto kiine engeri ekikukwegisamu kiwe nk'omuntu, then waheza nofunamu ekiwaba noyenda kukora mbwenu kanye oyina ekirooto ky'okuba omunamahurire, then kanye then nabo nibaasa kunyongerayo kufunako ekirooto kyangye, then nimpabura abazaire bitu okutogorra amasimu ga smartphone, then nyo nkanye Diana kuri mbe ntine smartphone mbe ndakuza kufuna ekyo ekitongole, then kumbize nimpabura abazaire okugurira abaana data smartphone, then kweyongerayo ha birooto byabo, then nanye ekyo nibyo nambiniira.
been steadily waiting for us to come back with our this segment, which is known as the Top World Stories. Don't forget you're still on Behold Africa. Behold Africa is brought to you by the Fundamental Rights and Protection, who say rights matter and they're there to protect them for you. As you're watching us, please subscribe and also share the link for others and comment in the comment section. Like the videos. That's the only way you can also still get us and see us more. Well, in this new segment, we bring you stories that are happening all over the world that you have been missing and you cannot get them anywhere apart from Behold Africa. Well, we begin with the US, where the US hits Uganda military intelligence by the chief military person by sanctioning him from going there over the allegations of inglorious abuses. Well, they claim that he has been involved in human abuse, yeah, and that's why they brought in that. But not only him, we're going to also read to you some of those other people who are still in that league who have been sanctioned. And this general is known as General Abel Kahindi, who was alleged of defying human rights by the US military. They say this is not the first time they first sent a notice to him, then he didn't respond. They brought this up because he had not been responding.
Yes. Now, of course, this story is still building up, but at the same time, you know, it is good. The reports that are coming out, it is good. It's just one individual who has been sanctioned. Previously, it was very many officials who were actually sanctioned and banned from entering the US. But for this very instance, it's chief of military Abel Kandiho. Yes, and but yes, the government actually released a press in a response to the sanction against this very individual, and we're going to be sharing with you this press statement. Let me read some of the things in here. So, the Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs, Uganda People's Defense Forces, Office of the Defense spokesperson. Press statement: financial sanctions against Major General Abel Kahindo, of the Chief of Military Intelligence of UPDF. We have been officially notified about the unaltered financial sanction against Major General Abel Kahindo, the Chief of Military Intelligence UPDF, by the United States of America, which is the government. Of course, as a country, and UPDF in particular, are a reputable government institution, we are disappointed that such a decision could be made by a country we consider friendly, a partner, a great ally, without due process and in total disregard of principle of fair hearing, coupled with failure to make the necessary consultations. Now, of course, this is just a press release, but what is in here, what I can get from in here is the discontent of this very sanction against the general. But at the same time, there should be a story behind this and what has brought about this. Now, of course, the US allegedly says the general has been defying human rights, has been violating human rights. They have not specified exactly what these human rights that he broke or violated are, but still all of this into it, and we shall bring you the full details of this very story about what exactly they are sanctioning him for. But for this very sanction, he has been banned from entering the US, and at the same time the sector that he governs shall not be receiving any financial assistance from the government of the US.
Well, as you're saying that, well, yeah, the government came in relation to that report. They said they were not notified before. This came in as a surprise because the areas have to have those negotiations before you touch one of their person, because they know they are the person, they are in charge of him and they are answerable for him. So because they came out and they did the sanction on the military chief known as Abel, they're also still going to talk to them and they see how they can strap it down or how we can make it better. Now we leave that and hopefully the negotiation come out and he can move on freely. Yeah. But also they should also look in what they're accusing him of human rights, because that is very essential. We all know that human rights are very crucial, especially if you're on the military side, when you need to protect the civilians and everybody, please.
That is true.
Well, we're going to straight in Ukraine. Previously, we are telling you, I read a story where I said that the Russian government have deployed troops over the borders of Ukraine. And even previously, I said that the USA came in and they said that they're to meet. I say yeah, they're to meet this week with the Russian President Putin. John Biden and Putin were to meet this week and talk about the various. And still also they warned them that you putting your troops on the border, that is calling for war. It raises a lot of matters. However much they said no, we are not alarming anybody. We are just in protecting our borders and also ensuring that there is law and order and foreseeing any trouble that may come. But still also the Ukraine managed to come out and they say that it won't actually the Russian government and they want the Russian community. They say that this is going to create a bloody massacre that is going to arise in case they don't remove their troops from the border.
Yes, now this was of course during an interview with the defensive minister of Ukraine, who clearly stated that, you know what, if an attack is imminent, he did not disclaim that, you know, he was asked a question like, hey, do you think Russia is actually planning on invading Ukraine? And his statement was, you know what, I don't care if they attack. If they attack, it's not only the Ukrainians who are going to die. For us, we are ready to put our lives on the line. But be assured that Russia will go back with a lot of casualties. We have a lot of power. We have a lot of manpower and weaponry, and we are going to defend ourselves to the very end, and we are not going to allow this sort of behavior. Now, of course, this shows you there have been Ukraine has also been doing test runs, testing their equipment, testing their weapons. They are calling it the winter drills. But of course, we know what this means. Now, of course, with this very statement, it shows you how determined both parties are. Now, previously Russia came out and said, you know what, we don't have any plans of invading Ukraine. We're just, you know, deploying security for security measures. Yeah, we're just putting these forces for security measures. But you can't begin deploying forces at the border of the country.
I was going to ask you, what would you think if maybe I start putting security forces on the border? What would you think? That means you're suspicious of some act. Maybe you're plotting something against me, because we all know you've been living maybe in harmony, and then out of the sudden you deploy a lot of troops on the border. There is no that is. We are all aware that that is a story read to you, but still this is ongoing, as we all are. The meeting is said to have between the Russian president and also the USA President John Biden. But now I like a statement when one of the officials from that side of Ukraine, who is in charge of the defense minister, he said that these Russian guys will go back in coffins.
That is true, because of course
in case they invade.
Yes, those were his words, because, you know, for him, he says they are ready to take on whoever is coming at them. But keep in mind, this is not the first time that Russia has attempted to actually get into the Ukraine. Look back to 2014, where actually they managed to enter Ukraine, but they were pushed back by other forces. Those of course inclusive of the US and so many other forces. But anyways, let us play for you this very interview that went down between the defensive minister of Ukraine and some of the words he uttered and some of the statements he made. Very, very bold statements. As Brenda has read you one among the statements he made is, in case these Russian guys enter my country, they are going to definitely go back in coffins. But let us play for you this short clip. As we are still sourcing the clip for you, just keep in mind this is Behold Africa, and on Behold Africa we bring to you the latest scoops, the latest stories, some of the things you did not know. And at the same time, if you have an interesting story, if you have anything that you want to share with us, please don't hesitate to reach out on Youths Media or in the comment section below. The details are there. You can reach out and give us whichever scoop you're ready to give us. But as we're still sourcing that clip, we're going to be playing it for you very shortly. Let's dive into the world of COVID. We know the Omicron has broken out, the new variant of COVID, and countries are struggling a lot. Previously, of course, we had the Delta variant, which had already crippled most of the economies around the world. we're looking at like Britain, we're looking at Africa at large, where vaccination is very, very low. Now, the British University of Cambridge, of course, are the ones who came up with Pfizer, have come on board and made a statement that, you know, most countries might not have enough supply for one specific vaccine, of which most of the countries right now are using either Pfizer or AstraZeneca. But the university came out and made a research from basing on several volunteers who came on board and accepted to take on this job to be experimented upon. And the conclusion they came out with was it is always better to actually mix two. Instead of relying on one vaccine, you probably take one shot of either AstraZeneca or Pfizer. Then for your second dose, your second jab, you can either take Moderna or you can take Johnson & Johnson. And this way, the results from this very research, from this very experiment brought out that the results are better. You're going to have a better chance of fighting COVID than when you take one vaccine for both doses, for both jabs, where you take AstraZeneca or Pfizer for both the doses, the first dose and the second dose. But let me play for you the clip that was covered, the report that was covered about this very instance where the University of Cambridge, one of the makers of Pfizer, encouraged most countries that are having inadequate supply of these vaccines to actually use 2 vaccines instead of 1. A short clip for you.
Better than sticking with the same one. That's according to a major new study. Better than sticking with the same one. That's according to a major new study. Switching up certain COVID-19 vaccines may be better than sticking with the same one. That's according to a major new study from the University of Oxford. It tested more than 1,000 volunteers and found that a first dose of either the AstraZeneca Oxford or Pfizer-BioNTech vaccines, followed by a second dose of Moderna, resulted in a strong immune response, stronger even than if the volunteers had stuck with the same vaccine. Oxford Vaccine Group's Matthew Snape was lead researcher.
When it comes to antibodies, it was really the RNA vaccines that seem to be most immunogenic. And if you want to choose between them, then actually overall we seem to see that Moderna was more immunogenic than the Pfizer vaccines. That's a higher dose of the RNA vaccine in that, so perhaps that wasn't surprising.
The study may be good news for developing countries struggling to get access to vaccines.
And we're showing there is flexibility. You don't have to stick rigidly to receiving the same vaccine, first and second dose. And that if the program will be delivered more quickly by using multiple vaccines, then it is okay to do so. And I think that might be one of our most important findings from the study.
The study comes as pressure grows for speedier vaccination campaigns worldwide, as variants like Delta and Omicron spread. But Snape said the study also had implications for the future and could lead to a new, more flexible approach to fighting disease.
Yes, and that is what's happening around the world. What are the current affairs happening around the world, what's happening in the world of COVID, what's happening in the world of defense, security, and so much more. We leave that and we dive into one of your other interesting sections, which is the world of sports. Now, for those of you sports lovers, we know yesterday the UEFA Champions League had several matches, one which was very much anticipated for Liverpool and another one for Man City. These are all Premier League teams that were clashing, and Chelsea managed Liverpool managed to come out with with a win of 2-1, while Man City also, you know, managed to take home a loss and a red card. Man City was beaten 2 with a red card at the same time. Now Man City is on top of the group stages in their table. They are still on top. The team that is next to them is PSG, who managed to thrash whichever team they went against 4-1. Now, some of the tables that I'm looking at here, of course, we're having Man City in Group A. In that category, we have Man City, PSG, RB Leipzig, and Club Brugge. And then we are having Liverpool in Group B. We're having Liverpool, Atletico Madrid, Porto, and 1. In Group C, we have Ajax, we have Sporting, we have Dortmund, we have Besiktas. That's for Group C. In Group D, and that's the order from 1 to 4. In Group D, we have Real Madrid, we have Inter Milan, we have Sheriff, we have Shakhtar. In Group E, where Bayern is dominating the group with about 15 points, and the next team after that is having 7 points, and you'll be very surprised. That team is Bayern. Then we have Benfica. Then we have Dynamo in 4th place in that very group. Then we have Group F, where we have Man United, Villarreal, we have Atletico, Atlanta, then Young Boys. Now it is very interesting that in almost all of the groups in these very categories, almost it's only Premier League teams that are dominating. We're seeing in Group F Man United. We're seeing in Group B Liverpool. We're seeing in Group A Man City. It's only here where I'm seeing Bayern dominating in Group E, and we're having which other? We're having Ajax dominating in Group C. Other than that, all the other teams are dominating are from Premier League. Now, today Champions League continues. I hope you enjoy it. Man United is taking on the match today. I hope you watch it, and we shall be bringing you some of those stories tomorrow. What happened, what transpired. But with that, it marks the end of this segment, and at the same time it marks the end of the show. But as usual, we bring you the African proverb of the day and what it translates to by me here, Jude Klein, on Behold Africa, since Behold Africa is an African theme based show. Today's African proverb states, I remember yesterday I read for you an African proverb which was very interesting. Someone reacted and said, "Hey man, where do you get these proverbs from?" Well, I have several sources that I get these proverbs from, and I don't like to disclose them to you because then you'll know everything. But I don't want you to know everything. Not that I don't want you to know everything, but I want to bring you bit by bit. But with that, let me tell you today's African proverb. It says, "He flees from the rolling lion to the crouching lion." That's a very interesting one. He flees from a rolling lion to a crouching lion. And what does this mean? That guy who went from one dangerous situation to even more dangerous situations. The English saying that means the same thing is quite good too. And there is this one here: out of the frying pan into the fire. I think we have all had that. I mean, in the English format, where you jump from the frying pan into the fire. Either way, you're going to get burned. So don't opt for one solution and be like, okay, this is bad, but the other one seems better. They are both bad. If it's bad, it's bad. There's nothing that is going to change it. It's going to be bad one way or another.
There is no way out, because however much you may see, however much the other option may look appealing, but when you go towards it, sometimes you need to to make the right decision, and also wish for the better for yourself, because sometimes you may, you know, that those people when they are when they're at work. Yeah, I'll even give you a scenario of work. You are at work, but you know maybe there are things that are not going so well. Then you're like, no, I have to look for somewhere. Yeah, it's good, you can look for somewhere, but in case you see there is no way out, stay where you are, because not all times will be the same. Because you may leave that work and you go into another work that may look appealing, but reaching there, it's even more worse than the one you left. So this is still Behold Africa. Welcome you those, and we appreciate those who have been watching us live in Kampala right straight away when it started exactly 7, and up to now we are still watching us. We tell you that still locked in, more shows are coming up, but still don't forget Behold Africa is brought to you by the Fundamental Merits and Protection on here, Youth Media. Youth Media has a lot of stuffs and lots of content that you shouldn't miss. For example, Health Clinic, we have the Mama Mia Show, and more others. See you next time tomorrow when you have still on Behold Africa. It has been Upshaw, Brenda, and Jude Clay.
Bye bye.